Where else can you get Mega Man, Cammy, BB Hood, and a few others together in a game that doesn't have verses in the title? Well, it's Cannon Spike, which, if you're a fan of Street Fighter, you know that that's Cammy's sort of call sign whenever she performs a Cannon Spike move. Cannon Spike is a really different type of game from Capcom. It's an arcade game that sort of combines fighting elements with shooter elements. If you look really close at the video, you'll see that you have two different projectile attacks, and you also have two melee attacks, plus sort of like a special move or a bomb move, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of interesting how Capcom took all these different elements and combined them together to make one hell of a really interesting shooter slash, I don't know, it's not really a fighting game, but whatever you want to call it. It's really, really unique. So not only do you get Cammy, BB Hood, and Mega Man, but you also get Charlie from the Street Fighter series. You get Shiba from a relatively unknown Capcom arcade game from a little while ago. It was also ported to the Dreamcast. I forget what it's called. I think in Japan it's called Wonders 3, and North America was like the 3 Wonders, something like that. And the other big surprise is the main man you see right here, which just so happens to be Arthur from the Ghosts and Goblins series. And if you take a look at this boss character's name, it was actually Balrog, which if you know anything about Street Fighter, you'll know that that's the Japanese name for Vega. So that's kind of cool. There's actually lots of little Easter eggs like that, little like surprise guest characters and things like that. It's really, really interesting, really interesting. Now, the only downside to this game comes in the form of its single analog stick controlled gameplay. If you notice, you'll see that there's this red targeting system that keeps appearing on some of the enemies, and that's sort of like a lock-on target, but the problem with it is if you move around too much, I find it breaks the target, or if you happen to like attach yourself to one enemy and then another enemy walks in front of the lock-on target, that's it. You'll break the target and have to redo it. Now, it's nothing like game breaking or anything, but considering you only have one analog stick, it does make it a little bit awkward sometimes to stay locked on to a target that you want to stay locked on to. Also, making it a little bit difficult is because this is an 8-direction little shooter. The minute you press and hold the fire button, as you can see, you'll stay in whatever direction you were in. What this all boils down to is this. This would be the perfect type of game to be re-released in high definition on the PlayStation 3 and or Xbox 360 just because of the 2 analog sticks. This could work extremely well by using the second analog stick for firing. You could still have the lock-on mechanic because it does work, it just takes a little bit of getting used to. And then overall, this would control absolutely perfectly. But as it is right now, on the Dreamcast, it is a little bit difficult to control, but it still holds up really, really well. If you have a second player available, let the good times roll. This is actually a really, really unique and fun experience that sadly virtually nobody got to experience. So I hope you get a chance to pick this up one day. On the Dreamcast, it's still relatively expensive. I've seen them go for as high as $120. But, you know, with any luck, this will be released on one of the newer platforms, and everyone will get a chance to experience Cannon Spike.